factions.
Civil War.
Yep.
Deep fat fried.
Time to figure it out.
It's time to be some different countries.
We've reached a point of irreconcilability. You know, the positions are too extreme. I don't think too extreme on the left, but they're too extreme from one another to be reconciled in the center. So it's over.
But even under a second reconstruction, we could be separate for a while and come back together on a new framework. I mean, sure, I guess, but
the question, like, and I'm not trying to be mean about this, but the question I have about this second reconstruction thing is, what do we get? And when I say we, I mean people on the coasts that pay most of the taxes and that provide most of the shit, right? Create most of the jobs. What do we get from 2 generations of military occupation of the South, forcing yokels to be human beings? Like, what do we get at the end of it? Dependency? Continued dependency? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to talk pragmatically here. You start to think about a national divorce, right? Over ideology, which is what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There, you start to have these dollars and cents questions. And one of the big ones that comes up is the coasts finance all these inland states and southern states that have virtually zero taxes, right? And all of that gets subsidized by California, Texas, New York, New Jersey, donor states, or donator states to donor states, right? So you start having this pragmatic question pop in your mind of like, well, what's the benefit? What benefit does California, Washington, Oregon, New York, what benefit do they get for continuing to subsidize the South? And the answer is very little benefit. Oftentimes, in fact, we get a negative, because it's like, the homeless problem on the coasts is bad because every homeless person from the interior of the country finds their way to the coast because you guys don't take care of homeless people anywhere else. So
whatever happened to the gunshot / birds flapping stinger? Things got weird with certain kinds of imagery that might imply suicidality and so on and so forth. So
yeah, it's a little wild. I mean, it's a really cool, edgy thing, but what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Now, down here, increasing the power of right-wing political base, which would enable them to invade the old U.S. I have to tell you something about this too, because I've had this national divorce conversation a bunch of times, and this always comes up.
The idea that they're going to rise up again?
You have to understand. So the West Coast has a natural physical barrier. The Rocky Mountains into the Olympic range, all of that, right? So it's a natural choke point that can be controlled. Most of the military might of this country is housed in California, Oregon, Washington, Texas, and the eastern seaboard. You start to see the problem here? Like, invade with what? Invade with what?
Hello, human. I'm Nub. You will subscribe and become a Pessimist Productions patron.
And become a free member on Kick to enjoy live streams of Deep Fat Fried every week, deep dives every Saturday,
or other shows such as Hey Paul, what you watching? Backseat Gaming, Ideology, Commentaries,
mega shows every month,
and more. Click the link. Feed.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know that it's going to be a clean split type of divorce. I tend to believe that it's going to be multiple factions, like multiple kind of geographical areas. And it makes sense for that too. Maybe it's better that way. Maybe the needs and particular wants of the people that are living in these various regions will be better addressed by having their own government that takes their needs into account first. I don't know. I really don't care at this point. I got to be honest with you. Shit has gotten so bad. You're asking me to defend Nazis. You're asking me to defend literal Nazis. No, I won't do it. You're asking me to defend people that look the other way when they find out that the most powerful people among us are abusing children and everybody else besides. That. No. So it's irreconcilable for me at this point, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. I don't want the South to get better. I want it to wither and die. I want the people there to live by the courage of their own convictions. I want to watch them eat each other. That's what I want, because they're Nazis. Now, not everybody down there is a Nazi. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you've got a hard sell to me that it's worth my time, effort, and tax dollars to subsidize a bunch of heap yokels. Fuck them. Small. Man, what? Why don't you just bring Phoebe in here? Let's bring Phoebe's ass in here.
Okay.
Keep ignoring the minority issue, Paul. The left-wing counterbalance to what's keeping people like me and Phoebe alive. Wow. If I were you, I would dedicate all my resources to getting the fuck out of there. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, maybe.
The tenuous left-wing nature of the coasts is all that's keeping you alive. You might want to get the fuck out. You might want to devote every second of your life and every resource that you possibly can to get the fuck out of Podunk Dumbville. Maybe. Easier said than done. Everything is easier said than done, you monkey.
That's true. Everything else. Not really. Yeah. Really.
I just don't want to hear it, man. I know that's going to come up, but it's just like, bro, you were talking about this recently, the I can't mentality. I can't. You
I get it. There's certain
wanna.
things that are legitimate I can'ts, but moving is not one of them.
Moving to a different part of the country that agrees with your political views is not impossible. It's
Just
not an
uproot your life, man.
impossibility.
If you're so goddamn helpless that you can't create a new life somewhere else, then you don't meet the minimum standard for being a fucking functional human being, and you should probably just end it.
Just uproot your life is like, what do you want? Like,
I mean, it's
the
like, I mean,
claim
if you're
made-
in a valley and lava starts rolling down the hill, and you see it coming, and
uproot
you're
your
just
life.
like, well, what am I supposed to do? Leave? It's like, yeah. You're
Yes.
supposed to get away from the lava that's coming to kill you.
I'm not the one that said it. Earlier on, Johnny Socket said that the only tenuous thread of hope that people like him and Phoebe that live in the South have is the left-wing counterbalance of the coast. If that was the case, that's like the sword of Damocles hanging over your head. You might want to move out of the way. You might want to get out of there if you believe that. And I do believe it.
Everyone's in a bad mood today. I'm not in a bad mood today.
Oh, I've been in a bad mood.
I'm not.
I'm bringing the bad mood. Now I'm getting fired up about this. Now Phoebes is going to get a fucking debate. Because, dude, it's just common sense. It's just common sense.
Give
up instead of stand up. What if I
mean?
told you that moving to the area where democracy and liberal values and all of that are more likely to be upheld? What if I told you that getting yourself in that position is fighting back? What if I told you that? What would you say to that? Leaving that place and causing economic hardship in the place that's over, that according to some of your own testimonies is wanting to kill you because you're leftist? What if getting over on the right side is part of the battle? Uh-oh. Now what? I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. My broke ass has lived all over this country. I've moved by the skin of my ass so many fucking times, and at great expense. I had to come out of pocket tons and tons and tons of money. I had to figure it out, and I did it. And I'm telling you, 99% of you could do it too if you prioritized it, but you don't. You want to say
Too hard.
It's too hard. The guillotine is hanging over my head. Oh, the guillotine.
Okay,
and then when I tell you, get out of the way of the guillotine, you go like, what? Uproot my life? It's like, fuck you. Yes.
Moving requires effort, though, Paul. Yeah. And obviously, that's just beyond the range of a lot of people. What? I have to do something difficult and put forth an effort to change something?
I have to
guess
sacrifice.
I don't know.
I have to make deep personal sacrifices in order to and change something? Yes. Yes. Always. Everything is easier said than done. Everything.
And have you done this with no car,
I can't
no
listen
home,
to
Paul?
I can't listen to the whole chat, Johnny. I'm not avoiding you. I'm not sitting here and reading every goddamn thing. I'm sorry. Jesus.
Just become a successful YouTuber is so simple, duh.
Oh my God,
I mean,
bro.
I think me and
You know
Paul
how long
both,
it
me and
took-
Paul
do you know how
both
long it
moved
took?
around before we became quote unquote successful YouTubers.
I moved several times before I ever started YouTube, and I think you overestimate the point at which I personally became a successful YouTuber. Probably happened about 5 years later than you think it did.
Those of
TJ
us
will back me up on this. I lived by the skin of my ass when I first started in DP. I was making just enough to make my note, and I managed.
the only thing you need to move from one location to another is a pair of legs, okay? Even then, you know, there's wheelchair access. Thank you for the endless entertainment. Hope you get through the fall of the U.S. fine. But here in the EU, we have our own interesting times. Well, we can't afford to bother ourselves with that. We got our hands full.
Yeah, we'll
over
deal
here.
with you later.
Yeah.
We'll deal with you later. We'll handle you guys later. Right now, we got internal strife, okay?
No, TJ. You need first and last. No, you don't. You can find someone to mooch off of. You can live in your van. You can live on the street. You know?
There are programs. I mean, if you're talking about moving to the West Coast, guess what? There are programs. There are housing programs for people. There are shelters for people. You can fucking get a leg up here. You don't just, it's not just like work or street. There are like intermediary points between those two things. And interestingly enough, a lot of them help you get from street to work. See what I mean? It's a huge sacrifice. You're not going to live comfy and cozy like you probably are now. I didn't say you would.
At least
I
not
said
first.
it's possible.
California literally bans first and last, only allows first and security deposit. Well, there you go. But you don't need an apartment. I mean, all you need is someone. I mean, you can rent a room. Like plenty of people let out rooms in their house for pretty
like,
reasonable prices.
I think a lot of people that have never really been to California or traveled in it or certainly lived in it.
Yeah, there's way more of a social
like-
safety net in these blue states we're advising you to move to, too.
Well, not only that, but it's just like you'll say like, what am I supposed to do, man? I can afford to live in California. I'm broke. Dude, I could take you on a tour of broke California. What do you think? Everybody's living in a little mansion with 2 palm trees out in front of it? Fuck no. There are tons and tons and tons of razor's edge poor people in California. Somehow they're making it, but you want me to believe that you down in Tennessee just can't do it. Well, you.
Paul has zero clue about programs in California. There's nothing. That's bullshit. I specifically know people in California that get by on such programs.
Like,
So when are we moving, TJ? I like where we live now. I'm not looking to move.
I have a personal friend who's trans that moved to San Francisco specifically because that city, that huge metro area, has great trans programs.
Phoebe
And that
is really,
person
all right,
found a living situation through that, found a job through it. You get what I'm saying? They do. All right. So you're gonna admit that you're wrong, right?
Well, that's what we call placation, right?
Yeah. Admit that you're wrong. Just admit and then submit to my intellectual dominance of you.
What are you gonna have me? What are you gonna have me quote the philosophy of some old dead French dude next?
Do it. Do it.
No, okay. So here's my position, Paul. I don't think that you need to stand up for Nazis. I think you need to invade them. I think that if the fascist South is allowed to split off into its own nation, it's going to implement tax policies which will encourage currently American corporations to become new Confederate corporations. This influx of money will allow the South a military buildup, which will allow it to invade the rest of the United States, which it will do. This is what history teaches us about pretty much every fascist movement that comes to power in a region. They're never satisfied with their own borders. They always want to expand.
Step 1, separate from the. Step 2, establish the stability of your own society. Step 3, invade the and take their there you go. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I don't think that the split up process is going to be smooth enough for you guys to actually achieve stability sufficient to like do a counter invasion before the monetary up like the
Well, what
the
you're claiming is that the South is going to outperform the West Coast and the East Coast on military buildup and stability, and I just
think
don't
it
see
will.
that
Yeah.
happening.
Why not? Texas is full of military bases.
Well, yeah. What makes you think Texas is going with the South?
I mean, I think this Blue Mirage Texas is a myth. I think you've said the same on multiple
The
occasions.
Blue Mirage. I'm not talking about. We're going beyond red and blue now. We're talking
Fair enough,
about
fair enough.
Nazis, and we're talking about economic prosperity.
We're talking about Nazis versus liberals.
The economies of Texas and California are inseparable. They're intrinsically
why.
linked.
Right, but so is the culture of the Deep South in Texas, though. Like, there are so many people that go to other parts of the Deep South to vacation. People who live in Texas that'll go to Louisiana or Mississippi or whatever, or they'll have like a second house out here because it's way cheaper to live out here than it is in Texas. So I just feel like there's an inseparability concern here both ways, and I feel like that's
Right.
one of the things that makes a national divorce kind of untenable.
I don't think Texas, if it decides to separate, is going to cleave to any state. Texas has a long history of being its own thing.
Right. I mean,
and the
so
people there
saying
see themselves as independent from the United States already.
So are you saying that in a national divorce situation, Texas would separate completely and go its own way and be like it would not be part of the West or the
Possibly, yes.
possibly? I don't know.
I think it's also possible because I've lived in both, and there is so much similarity between Texas and California. It's not even funny. They're like siblings that hate each other. And
You're
so
right.
it's
No,
like,
I've been to both. Yeah.
if it comes down to brass tacks, people are going to want to make money. The people in power are going to want to continue to make money. And one of the best money-making propositions that we could have in a national divorce is Texas joining forces with California, Oregon, Washington, maybe New Mexico.
But wouldn't that also mean, because part of the reason why you want a national divorce is because of the untenability of Southern politics corrupting the politics of the greater whole. Well, if you incorporate Texas, that social conservatism that exists outside of all of Texas's major cities is going to follow and influence the West Coast and its economic development and its social development.
Maybe. Like I said, the idea of a national divorce is not. I don't think it's like the best course. The best course of action would be an immediate tamping down on right-wing influence in this country, like just an immediate flip of the switch. That's not going to happen, right? So we're looking at a bunch of dog shit options.
Well, I don't know. One thing I've been talking about on my stream lately is the idea that I feel like we're at a turning point, and I feel like it largely depends on the actions of the Democratic Party. If they decide to allow themselves to be subsumed by progressives and to become like an actual progressive party, I think that there is some hope that we could swing the pendulum back hard enough that the Republicans do start to get the people who've participated in this like ice buildup and these surge operations and shit. I think there could be a second Nuremberg if we've got at least one active progressive party in this country. Right now we don't, and it doesn't look to me like the DNC is going to go in that direction.
I don't think we can nationally. That's one of the reasons why
Yeah.
I'm excited about balkanizing, is that I think that balkanizing will allow people regionally to have way more control over what's going on. It's going to invigorate the voter base because they're going to be closer. It's like one of the problems we're having is that it's become irreparable that we vote one way here and a completely other way in every other state in the center and south of this country. It's just become irreparable. It's like an anchor around the neck of progress.
Just out of
Incrementalism,
curiosity.
even.
Just out of curiosity, if you had to guess, what percentage of people do you think voted for Kamala Harris in Mississippi? Just out of curiosity.
I would guess 25%, 20%, something like that. 15 maybe.
You'd be surprised. Right around a third. Right around a third of Mississippians that were eligible to vote voted for Kamala Harris.
25%, yeah.
what is it called? Jackson, the capital of Mississippi, has, I think, twice in its history elected a socialist mayor. So the thing I always like to bring up in conversations like this is that the Deep South already has like a burgeoning leftist movement it's had rises and falls. I mean, Huey Long was a Louisiana politician who was super, super socialist, kind of like an authoritarian socialist,
I
almost
know
like a
Huey
leftist.
Long. He was also a corrupt motherfucker, but that's
Well, yeah.
neither here nor
Well, yeah,
there.
but hey,
He was a Louisiana politician. You pretty much have to be to get
Right.
things
Hold
done.
on,
But Von Tux gave $10 and asked, I like the breakup idea, but how do we get all the Republicans the out of California? There are pockets of them all mixed in the blue counties and cities. We split it like India, Pakistan.
That's the thing, is like there's no such thing as a leftist utopia. There's no way that we balkanize just leftist cities. It doesn't work. So there's always going to be somebody, there's always going to be a political underclass. There always is. I don't know what to tell you. There's going to be a lot of migration after this happens. A lot, and I fully support that. I think people that are leftists would be better off in the centers of leftist power than getting squished in the South. So
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Paul. Would you be more willing to spend your tax dollars on rehousing trans people, black people, and leftists who are going to be fleeing the South in the aftermath of a national divorce? Would you be more willing to spend your tax money there than you would be supporting like continued disaster relief and like that for the Deep South, like you are presently?
yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I figured you would be. I mean, you're a pretty hard leftist.
You know, I mean, the disaster relief is part of the problem. Like these states have become so dependent that they can't deal with their regional weather problems without the rest of the nation coming out of pocket. And it's a political problem there. It's a political problem. There is no tax base, and the people that are rich there pay such a little sliver of taxes that there's no money to save yourselves when a hurricane hits. And the whole planet has got to come together and subsidize you forever. It makes no sense. It's untenable.
Well, I mean, it makes sense if you're looking at it from the standpoint of we are a unified country, and there's an incentive to take care of the greater whole at the expense of some more prosperous places.
I get that, but it's at a certain point, it's enabling. I mean, look at it. In my lifetime, Louisiana's been hit by what? 3 catastrophic hurricanes. You would think a region that had that happen would immediately change its tax base and start building up the levees and start building up a counter hurricane program where they have their own people to save lives. They have their own infrastructure to deal with it. You'd think the society would do that. But because they didn't have to come out of pocket for their rescue, they never learn. They never do that. So we basically, every time we give $1 billion to Louisiana, right, to help clean up its hurricane bullshit, we're subsidizing the here government of Louisiana to continue eating the tax base. So
okay,
it's a double-edged sword. Money is a double-edged sword. Always.
Of course. And I would never disagree with that, but let me give you this option. So because I feel like there's a third option here. What if we were able somehow to put like actual progressivism in power in the United States government, and we use that federal influence to strike a deal with the Deep South? Okay, you can get your disaster relief funding, but in exchange for that, you have to turn over every aspect of your society to federal oversight, direct federal oversight, like what was happening during the first Reconstruction. The only reason why the South was allowed to turn to a corrupt people, in my opinion, was because that went away.
By the way, the figure of in the last 20 to 25 years, the federal government has provided roughly $90 to $100 billion in relief to Louisiana.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And that money, that federal money, comes from donor states. It comes from or donation states. It comes from provider states like California, Washington, Texas. And it's just like, at what point, even economically, does it become stupid and untenable to keep flushing money down the toilet in a region that's not going to rebuild properly? Dude, when I left Louisiana, there was a hurricane coming in on my heels, and I went through what is it, Port Charles? Is that
Yeah.
the name of the city?
So,
Or Lake Charles?
Lake Charles, yeah.
Yeah. I went through Lake Charles with a hurricane on my heels, and it was a sea of blue tarp roofs. It had been months since that last hurricane hit and ripped all the roofs off, and the whole city was still under blue tarp. So where did all that fucking relief go? Certainly didn't go to
Probably
shoring
the
up and
pockets,
fixing
yeah.
the problems, did it? It went right in the pockets of a bunch of okey-doke contractors down south, and nothing happened as a result of it. Lake Charles
imagine if that wasted-
probably still a destroyed mess. So what are we throwing good money after bad? Why?
Okay, well, that's the thing, Paul. I don't disagree with you. Hold on. I don't disagree with you that it is a waste of money to continually support a place that has no interest in bettering itself through more disaster preparedness, better land use agreements, and things like that. But my solution to that is not cut the South off and hope for the best. My solution for that is set conditions for which we will allow this funding to be given to these states. If Mississippi and Louisiana were required to give up their systems to direct federal oversight, the manner of which we were seeing in the era of first Reconstruction, this problem would evaporate. They would be forced through the enforcement wings of the federal government to start appropriating this money appropriately. I know that's a repetition, but
we should drag these people with a choke chain
yes,
into the world
if they don't,
of
they will
reality.
invade you. If you don't, they will invade you. I'm telling you, man. If you don't, I live around these people. I've grown up around these people. They do not want an independent South to just sit around and be racists and content on their own. They want an independent South so they can invade the rest of the United States and turn all of North America into a fascist Gestapo goose-stepping nightmare.
Oh, looks like they already did. Oops. See what I mean?
Exactly.
This is what happens when you live cheek by jowl. The whole South suddenly becomes this huge voting bloc. So they've got way more of a say in who gets picked as the president, but they get way more subsidies for their bullshit. So it's like, it's already happened, Phoebes. We've incrementalized so long that the whole country is now a fascist hellhole, because the South is radiating its hatred everywhere else. It's got to stop. At some point, it's just an economic decision. Like, why would you subsidize a person that hates your guts and would shoot you in the face if they were legally allowed? Why?
Okay, that is a pretty apt question to ask. I would never subsidize that person, but I don't feel like it's exactly comparable when we're talking about like an entire region of the United States with a really diverse political base and a really diverse group of people, many of which don't even vote. So like when we think about like the voting tendencies of the Deep South, I mean, so much of the reason why the South doesn't vote more to the left in the first place is, in my opinion, because Reconstruction was stopped and because the South was allowed to introduce things like Jim Crow laws, literacy tests, poll taxes, all of these different things that created a barrier between people that were going to vote more to the left to actually getting to the polls. And it's worth noting that during the initial era of Reconstruction, some of the nation's first black politicians were elected, and they were almost all elected in the Deep South. That is because black people were enfranchised, their voting rights were protected, and so were the rights of everybody else. And as it turns out, a lot of poor white sharecroppers felt just about like the slaves did when it came to a lot of the matters of economic prosperity in their country. They wanted pro-worker policies. They wanted pro-democracy policies. It was when I believe it was Andrew Jackson. No, it was not Andrew Jackson. It was somebody else. Johnson,
Coyote
maybe?
BW gave $5 and says, Phoebe, what you're proposing violates the Impoundment Control Act. I don't know what that is, but
it's a federal law that prevents
it's
a federal law that prevents the federal government from seizing private property for the purposes of military, whatever I've heard it before. So
I'm not familiar enough with it.
All of it is going to be, we're going to violate a law.
And someone responds to that by saying what Paul is proposing is treason.
Oops. I mean, what
Well,
what
I
do you
mean,
okay,
like,
so what are we supposed to do? Be smiling idiots and just okey doke and nod as the world burns? I don't really know. I don't really know. I do know
yeah,
I
I
feel
don't
I
know
owe
either.
no fucking allegiance to Nazis, and I refuse to pledge it. So what
I
do you want
don't
me to?
listen. I don't feel like I don't know no allegiance to the Nazis either. But what I'm trying to let everybody know about, what I'm trying to ring the alarm bells about, is this idea that the Deep South is not some, like
But I
from the
mean,
outside looking in, I feel
without
like
the donor states to constantly bail these places out, I mean, don't you think that they would have their hands full just trying to stabilize their economy? I mean, I don't really see them
Well, sure, but
building.
that's why
I don't
I
really
think
see
the
them
only
building
thing-
a fortified military force in a situation where they're literally struggling to get money together to provide disaster relief that normally would have been subsidized by the federal government. And let alone, I mean, even just standard day-to-day operations in those regions are subsidized broadly by federal tax dollars. So, I mean, you're talking about an area that's going to be struggling to even become self-sufficient, and you're talking about them accomplishing this massive military buildup. And I don't know, it just doesn't, it seems like those two things are at odds. I'd like to hear that addressed.
Sure. So I think that what would happen in a national divorce situation is that the Deep South would try to turn itself basically into like an ANCAP paradise, like just an anarcho-capitalist paradise where private military orgs are allowed to operate and where private companies are given really preferential treatment in terms of their corporate taxes and things like that, and building permits and all this shit. And I think the South would basically try to make itself into a business haven that attracts widespread.
Well, I mean, businesses are
support
not
from the
attracted.
business
Businesses aren't really
class.
attracted to ANCAP paradises, though, because ANCAP paradises, they might promise very little regulation, but they also don't promise much in the way of stability.
Well, I think, yeah, okay, good distinction. Maybe not an ANCAP paradise, but I do definitely think that they would make I think that they would make their market a lot more amenable to big business, which it already is. It already is. Like the Deep
So
South
you
already
think
has
you
a
would
lot
have
of
a
American
southern
business.
corpocracy of some sort.
Yes, exactly. I think they would turn it into a southern corporatocracy, and they would probably, I think that they would probably court a lot of these private military companies and things like that in order to create like a private incentive for
Even if
security
they
and
did,
stability.
if it went
Framework.
exactly the way that you want, it would take a generation for them to build up the manufacturing capacity to do this. So, and in that time, it's not like the other part of the it's not like the other part of the United States is just going to be biding its time during that generation. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just don't see them reaching parity with California on the West Coast, New York on the East. These places are dotted with military assets and full of manufacturing capability.
GDP of blue land demolishes GDP of red land currently.
Yep.
And
they're gonna, and like I said, it's gonna take at least a generation to bring them up to speed. And what's going on in the other parts of the former United States while they're doing that?
We have a super chat from Shocked Life who gave $5 and asks, Paul, I've lived in Florida my whole life. I'd rather fight against Nazis in my hometown, as I always have, than tuck tail and run.
Okay. Well, then, but you're not who I'm speaking to then. Like, right? I'm speaking to.
But for the record, I do feel that same way.
Yeah. Well, then fine. Then I'm not speaking to you either, I guess. What I'm saying is if you're going to say, I am in danger here, my family's in danger here, and any moment things could shift and I get rounded up or whatever, unless you're currently the member of some secret paramilitary group, you ain't prepared for that. So maybe the better choice, and maybe you'd be more effective fighting Nazis if you get out of a place where your very identity makes you suspect. I just don't know how I don't know how you can fight better with whatever gun you've got in Florida than you could being a productive member of a leftist society that lets you be trans, that lets you be brown. I don't get it. But
I will just say this much. Queer rights were not won by queer people in queer cities making queer arguments for queer audiences. It was won by queer people in places that were against them, opposed to them, that were not used to seeing them, being loud, proud, and unapologetic about their existences.
Okay. And that's fine. Look, I wish you the best of luck. I'm saying I think it's an economic reality. I think what I'm talking about is an economic reality, and I think it's an inevitability at this point. I smell it coming in the wind, dude. We just laid out the tarot earlier. It's coming. I believe it.
In the air tonight.
Yeah, it's coming in the air.
No, I feel it too, Paul. I feel it too. Listen, Paul, if we can agree on anything, something is going to happen. There is a problem that seems presently irreconcilable. I don't think it is irreconcilable. I think that we can do something about it, but I think that now is a keyhole moment, and I think that your outcome is more likely. I just don't think it's the preferable outcome. Mind you, I don't disagree with you on the facts when it comes to the economic exploitation that the South is engaging with donor states. I just disagree with you as to how we should approach this problem, because I feel like, I genuinely mean this, I feel like if we don't approach it in the right way, not only is people like me going to die, I probably won't die. I have a streaming thing now. I make enough money to pay my bills. If I have to get up and go, I can take my son, like in the song Skibbereen, and I can wave a sad goodbye to Skibbereen if I need to. Lots of people that look like me will die if we don't approach this the right way. That's my take.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I want whatever stops the growth of Nazism now.
Well, cheers to that.
Because we let it foment and we let it foment and we let it foment, and now it's reached the point where we've got federal troops in leftist cities snatching people off the street and we don't have another 2 years or 10 years to kumbaya our way to this solution. It's about to come to a head. And that's why I've felt this for a long time. That's why I'm saying maybe the best bet of people down south is to get the fuck out while the getting's good.
I just think the answer is to fight. The answer is always to fight until you cannot fight anymore. Once the enemies are at the gate,
come fight with people that are by and large not looking to roast you for who and what you are. Come fight with us.
That's the problem.
We need you. We need people here. You see? Come fight over here. I'm not saying come over here and cower.
He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day.
Yeah. Like I'm saying if it's as bad as a lot of people are telling me down there, and it's as bad as it was when I lived down there or worse, and I'm right about all this shit coming to a head here soon-ish, maybe the fighting response is to join the team.
It's expensive to move. Well, it's more expensive to die.
Yeah.
Listen, can I just say something on that same note, TJ? You mentioned something earlier about moving and how, the only thing you need to move is 2 feet. I want to tell other trans people, other marginalized people in the Deep South, these guys aren't trying to be insensitive. They're just trying to tell you a cold, hard fact about life.
I mean, you know this better than most, Phoebe. You've lived on the road before.
Right. I lived in a minivan for 2 years. In fact, a lot of the time I used to spend in Paul's ideology chats was just me idly sitting on the road watching the sunset over the California desert or something, There is nothing preventing you from moving but your own unwillingness to approach sacrifice in the right way. Listen, there's an entire generation, multiple generations of Irish people who fled everything they ever knew and came over on ships with nothing but their own name and their children with them. And they made a life for themselves in this country at a time when the social safety net did not exist.
They made a life for themselves, and then the environment almost destroyed them, and they fled west. The Dust Bowl happened, and they didn't stand on principle. They uprooted everything and put their whole lives on their backs. That's my ancestors. My ancestors fled to California and west in the Dust Bowl. So sometimes getting the fuck out of Dodge is the right thing. My family came to California and relatively it prospered. I've got tons of little nieces and nephews. It was a good thing generationally that my family got the fuck out of Okie Doke and now is based in California. I feel lucky that I've got a huge network of people in a state that looks like it's going to be one of the more stable places to live here in a minute. That's great for me. I think you should get
I just want to say
I
that.
have to just say something, and it has really nothing to do with your guys' argument, in which I take no side. But these people who every time they hear like this A-wise 1957, who's just like, oh, you'll pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You are a cowardly sack of shit.
Yeah.
Like you suck. You are such a you crybaby bitch.
Some people can't themselves right
if the locusts are coming, you seed the farm. If the lava is coming, you run. If the fire is coming, you abandon the homestead. If the flood is coming, you abandon the fucking homestead. I don't give a shit how difficult it is, you crybaby.
And look,
if danger is looming on the horizon and you're too stupid to hoof it to safety,
you go.
then you deserve to die.
Maybe
you
so.
shit heel. You loser. You absolute who is not like, if you're not willing to give up all your little creature comforts for your own ass, because you know what? No matter where your ass lands, you can do something. But if your ass is dead, you can't do shit. Live, motherfucker. Be smart enough to live. That's all I have to say. And like I said, I take no side in your guys' argument.
No,
I don't give a shit if there's a national divorce or not. I live in the South. I plan to always live in the South. I like the South, but it is a infested shithole. So that's where I stand with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I like the South too. That's the reason why, that's the reason why I take the side that I do. I'm not saying that you should, TJ. I'm just saying the reason why I take the side I do is because, like, I consider myself like a kind of politically obsessed person. Whatever. It's like the one good thing so like the one thing I'm good at, and I feel like
I'm not politically obsessed,
real
really.
incentive.
I mean, I have to be sometimes for views or whatever the.
Right.
Like in my day-to-day life, when I'm not doing this, politics rarely even crosses my mind.
Whereas I'm the kind of person that I'm just like, I probably think about politics and news shit like 8 hours a day. It's probably not healthy for me, in fact, how much attention I pay to it. But I feel like if I'm going to be that kind of person in the Deep South, it behooves me to fight against the Nazi tide, you know? And my preferred way of telling people to fight is this. Listen, fight your ass off, and then when the enemies are at the gates, make sure you have a rat tunnel that you can disappear down into and get the fuck on up out of Dodge. Do not worry about your family. They will live, die, or grow mushrooms in their butt crack, and it's not going to matter much to you who's in Oregon.
Infested shithole, but TJ loves it once. Well, yeah, look, I mean, that's just, it is what it is. I'm not a Nazi, but
California's infested too. The Aryan Brotherhood started in California.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I'm not trying to
there's
California.
Gonna be a reckoning. No, there's a reckoning There's a reckoning coming. People have not forgotten how to deal with these, and there's a reckoning coming. All I'm
100%.
saying is that reckoning has a way better chance of swinging your way on the West Coast than it does in the Deep South. And that's all I'm saying. There's a reckoning. Is an incompatibility of worldview.
All right, I have a solution. All right, listen. Listen. We form two societies, but not on a geographical basis. The conservatives own the day, and the left owns the night. We're the night society. All right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I don't know what to do with
day shifters. I don't trust day shifters, man.
Yeah. And if any leftist is caught out in the day, you have the right to kill them. And if any conservatives found out in the night, you have the right to kill them.
So the purge, but constant.
Yeah.
Just a constant, like every 12 hours, there's a purge.
Well, no, but only if they're outside. Like, you can't go in their house.
Oh. Well, why not?
So
if we own the night,
because they're minding the accords at that point.
But we own the night.
What if they get
That's true.
What if they get in their car in their garage and then leave somewhere in their car?
Well, then, you get to kill them.
Well, why though? But they're still in an extension of their house.
I don't know if the house is an extension of the car. I mean, look, I haven't worked all the bugs out yet. It just came to me, I can figure it out. I need some time to work through the bugs, but might work.
Yeah, I feel like this idea needs some ironing.
Yeah, a little bit. So we're vampires.
Dude,
Why
I've
not?
been smoking cigarettes
I
this
feel
whole
like,
time.
I feel
and
like
I'm
night
starting-
owls tend to be more of the lefty types anyway.
Sometimes.
Can we switch with the season so we get get the day every once in a while? Why do you want the day anyway? The day sucks. The sun's out. It's all stupid and
Just
bright.
learn to sleep.
Yeah. Ugh. The Darkwing.
I like the
night,
daytime.
Ugh. Gay. Vitamin D, TG. Take a supplement.
Yeah. Get a supplement.
Yeah.
That's what I
No,
do.
don't take a supplement. Take a 20-minute walk every day without your cell phone
Oh
and
my
get the
God.
sun on your face.
Oh,
Who has
God.
a
And
time for
no,
that?
dude, shut up. It is good advice. It is good
Bleh.
advice.
Time for that.
Unplug for 20 minutes, take a walk, enjoy the birds, listen to the sound of the cars and the wind in the trees.
Boo.
Y'all don't even know. Revolutionary.
Boo.
This is praxis.
Boo.
Boo.
Listen to hippie Phoebe over here.
Oh, dude, Paul, you'll love to hear this. Ever since Vaush adopted your positions, he's been a lot more tolerable to listen to. So I've kind of been on a Vaush kick lately.
Nice. Well, yeah, Vaush'sEGO is the best Vaush. It's just when
Yeah,
Vaush-
dude, the transition. He is saying some of the exact same shit you used to say about the Democratic Party, and it is. It's face-meltingly stupid that he does not seem to recognize the distinct 180 shift in his positions.
maybe he does.
I'm
I
happy
don't
to
know,
see it,
man.
But I just want some accountability.
Tell the dude to unban me. I'll talk with him.
I'll do it.
Listen,
I'll do it.
We got a $25 donation in here to me. TJ, I think the sedentary attitude you're talking about in the comments has a lot to do with neatdom. We've let these people get away too long with no drive or motivation for ever doing nothing. Right. Well, that's the thing is like this balkanization shit, if nothing else, will be the ultimate test of just how committed they are to the neat lifestyle.
You hear he said he'd voted for Vance over Newsom? That's crazier than me. He's crazier than me now.
I know. That is crazier than you, dude. He's literally talking about how it would, and listen, it was like, it's crazier than you because he's like taking the position forthright. You kind of made the argument that like, wouldn't it probably be better to just get another 4 years of an inept Trump than have like 4 years of a Democrat that's going to make everybody actively polarized against them? You kind of made that argument, but you weren't like seriously saying vote for Trump instead of Biden. He's actually saying, I would vote for Vance over Gavin Newsom.
Anyway, we are at 413 now. We're less than $100 away.
Electoralism rots the brain. That's all I'm gonna say, dude.
413.
Electoralism rots the f***ing brain right out of your head, dude. Stop it.
We're less than $100 away from our first goal.
Well, and you know what,
Yeah,
dude?
Paul
If
needs to escape
people should
Washington to go to Washington.
if anything, you should listen to me more. Because if this is all true and I was right like 2-3 years beforehand, what was going on, maybe I'm right 2-3 years beforehand again, and you should get the f out the South. How about that? Get out while the getting's good. Because something's, dude, I smell it. I smell it. Something big's
smell it on the
coming.
damn win. AOC gonna win anyway. Well, I hope she does because I have money riding on it on Kalshi.
Oh, really? You bet for AOC?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a long shot bet. And I'm like, it seems more plausible than what they're saying. So
Is
I'm
she
gonna
even old enough?
I don't know.
Dude, can I ask you guys something real quick?
I mean, she must be right. And otherwise, you couldn't take the bet.
Don't you have to be 35?
Maybe she is, or maybe she will be by the next election cycle.
She's gonna be.
Maybe.
She's gonna be.
AOC's a
She's
solid
eligible to
fraud.
run in
I don't she is. I'm just betting. I'm betting because I want to win money. I'm not betting out of some like loyalty to AOC. No way AOC wins. I don't know. Who knows, man?
Dude,
I'm
I'm curious about
odds.
something.
I'm a long odd better. I don't like when the odds are stacked in my favor. I like betting on the long shot because that's where.
Damn, I thought she was like 20 something. I thought she was like 25 or 26 or some shit.
Mr. Naughty Priest just gave some money. I don't know how much he gave.
Oh, Mr.
But
Naughty
his
Priest.
donations tend to be of the larger size, so he might have gotten us there. Let me check. $50. Not a crazy donation, but it gets us a lot closer to our goal. And we thank
you, Mr.
the
Naughty. That is a
Supreme
crazy
Leader of North
donation.
Korea.
Fuck you, TJ. That's a crazy donation.
It's crazy. It's 463 we're at now.
$50. Thank you.
So we're less than 40 away now from our goal.
Naughty Priest.
Our first goal.
Naughty Priest.
Our first goal, to remind you guys, is we're going to look at some British people. Oh, yeah, we're 20 closer still.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna look at some British kids eating American sandwiches for the first time and it blowing their stupid little dumbass limey minds.
It's just kind of to like underline that British food segment we did a couple shows ago.
I think it was the last show.
Was it last show?
I think it was, yeah.
Fuck me, dude. Time is dilating so bad, dude.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm blessed or cursed with this. But people always say that the older you get, time speeds up.
Yeah.
And I am finding that the older I get, time has slowed to a insane crawl to the point where yesterday feels like 100 years ago. So I don't know what the is wrong with my internal clock. Yeah. I guess I should be glad because it makes me functionally immortal.
Well, it might be a temporary thing. You might be experiencing what I like to call the second childhood.
Oh.
It happens. This is a psychological precept, okay? So a lot of people call it a midlife crisis.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when a dude, I mean, I don't really like that, but I think most people go through it where it's just like, all right,
but
what
if
am I?
Stay in my midlife crisis, I will continue to experience time at a snail's pace. So that's good.
Well, the very nature of a crisis kind of like precludes you staying in it forever. Crises come and go. You know what I mean? Happens, and then it's over. It happened to me. You kind of met me for the first time, and I was in the midst of my midlife crisis. Right? I upended everything. I had to learn who and what I was.
All right, I'm going to see how people feel about this national divorce. I'm going to create a little poll in here.
During that time, though, TJ, when I was under that transitional kind of figuring out period, time felt like forever. A day was an eternity. I felt like I was alive for the first time in forever. So it was very, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm not trying to poo-poo. I mean, you want it to settle. You want it eventually to settle into a more normal place, and it will. It will, TJ. You don't want to exist where you are forever.
I'm desperately curious about something out of the both of you. I'm wondering if either of you guys thought about what the Democratic primary will look like in 2028. I know I have my slate lined up.
I have no fucking... Like I said, I dedicate virtually no thought to this outside of this show.
I know AOC is going to run. I know Gavin Newsom is going to run. I'm pretty sure we're going to see one of these fucking lurking conservative plants like Klobuchar or something. She doesn't seem to ever give up. Mayor Pete again, maybe. Kamala. I can smell that, that coming a mile away.
You guys need to read these options very carefully. I put this poll: national divorce. It should happen, but it won't. It shouldn't happen, and it won't. It should happen, and it will. It shouldn't happen, but it will. Okay.
I like that.
Those are your options. You get to comment both on whether it will happen and whether you think it should happen. I feel like an option is missing. There probably is. Those are your choices.
No, he gave you way better coverage options than most. It's not just a yay, nay, you know. Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's a lot of coverage. I'm pretty sure it's going to be between Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Gavin Newsom, AOC, Pete Buttigieg, and probably, like you said, one of the like conservative plant Dems. I'm thinking, I don't think it's going to be Amy Klobuchar though. I haven't seen her doing a lot of big publicity stunts or anything like that. Whereas pretty much everybody I've mentioned has done at least 2 or 3 big publicity stunts since
The only I'm
Trump
interested in seeing run is John Mulaney, and this time I want him to wear his hot dog suit. That's what I want to see.
hot dog.
I think we might get a weird wild card.
There's
too.
always
I think
a weird
we might
wild
get
card.
I think we might get a yeah, you're right. A non-politician wild card. And I don't know who that's going to be.
Matthew
some
McConaughey, baby.
Do you remember that veteran dude from way back in the day, Paul? That West Virginia veteran dude with a real strong Southern accent.
Yeah,
he was in a Michael Moore
Richard
documentary.
Ojeda.
Yeah, he was real pro-labor, but he's also just a total lib. So it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, he did.
We're
He
four.
did
We're
mobilize
$4.98.
a lot of-
We
yeah.
need $2 more to meet our first goal, guys. $2 more.
Damn, son.
And there it is.
Mark Kelly, the veteran and astronaut that Trump tried to demote for treason for telling the military to not follow illegal orders.
A lot of people stay talking about Jon Stewart. I
Yeah.
really hope that Jon Stewart is not stupid enough to actually try to become a politician. I really hope he is. He's smarter than that.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's smart enough to know better, and I think he's smart
Jon
enough
Stewart
to
is
want to
happen.
continue to be a satirist and not a mover and a shaker.
Dum, 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 bah.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right about that. I don't think I don't think the Jon Stewart ticket is going to happen. As cool as it would be for a lot of the people that are shouting it from the rooftops, I don't think it's actually likely at all.
Taylor Swift, no.
No.
Only because
No.
you called me a bad
You know, one
name.
thing that,
Arizona is not safe.
Huh?
Arizona is a big power generator, and we're gonna want that. So, yeah.
If Sheldon Whitehouse ran for prez, there's a change Trump would endorse him because he has a good name. I have no idea what the you're talking about, but sure, man. Thanks for the $5.
there's always got to be somebody with 0.5% up there on the primary debate stage.
I think Hillary should come back, but I think this time she should fucking be
No.
honest. I think she should be honest. Because you know what? I've always said I would vote for honest Hillary. If she came out and said, like,
Honest Hillary.
I am an evil but I will make the trains run on time. I'd be like, you know what? At least she's honest.
She has been doing a bunch of interviews and wearing her pantsuit around lately.
I mean, she never stepped out of this. I'm surprised that she didn't do what my conspiracy theory was Biden was going to get in there. He was going to dismiss Kamala, bring Hillary on as his new VP, then say, I'm too old to be president, and bam, Hillary's in. That's what I thought was going to happen, but it didn't. So far, by the way, the results of our poll, 47% say it should happen, but it won't. 32% says it shouldn't happen, and it won't. 13% says it should happen, and it will. 8% says it shouldn't happen, but it will.
Man,
So most people seem to think that it should happen, but it won't
Yep.
happen.
I see. Well, maybe they're right. Maybe they're correct. I don't know. Something's about to happen.
They are all of them wrong to a man.
Hillary Pelosi, 2028. Yeah, probably. Pelosi, yeah. JB Christmas cousin is in the
No.
files, and libs say JB is a good billionaire. Okay. I don't know who that even is, but sure. I don't know who anyone is anymore. You guys are constantly referencing human beings that I've never heard of in my life.
I'm good with faces. I'm horrible with names.
I'm bad with both.
Dude, the other day, TJ sent me a painting, and I was like, "Oh, you painted Bad Bunny," because it really did look like a picture I saw of Bad Bunny. And TJ was like, "Who the is that?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know, that's like the most popular musician right now on Spotify."
Right. Oh, that's
Nobody.
the
basically.
Super Bowl person, right?
Yeah, the guy that did the
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Jeb.
Please,
yeah, dude.
Clive.
Yeb would be good, dude. Honestly, I might vote for Yeb. Now that Vaush is saying that he would vote for JD Vance, you know, I need to pick my own Republican that I would vote for, and it's Jeb. You know why? Because Jeff is a marshmallow. Jeb is a marshmallow, dude. He's just the type of soft presence that we need to heal the wounds in America.
We need
He's the soft, loving embrace of an older politician.
I'm closing the poll because the results seem to be pretty much locked in.
Closing the poll before the tidal wave of it should happen and it will come in, TJ.
Sorry.
Great.
I'm sorry.
Great. Way to suppress the fucking truth.
I'm sorry for suppressing the people.
No, the people's truth is that it should not happen and it won't happen, and that Reconstruction 2 is the based and red pilled take.
Reconstruction 2.
I mean, Reconstruction 2 might be violent. In fact, it's going to be real violent.
You think a civil war and a national divorce ain't going to be violent? Hold on. Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm just saying that Reconstruction going to be just as violent. Reconstruction going to be just as violent.
I didn't say there. Well, yeah, but you keep. Okay, hold on. Actually, this is something that came up in the debate too. You kept. No. You kept framing my argument as I'm just like, "Kumbaya, my lord," with the Nazis, but that's not my position. My position is invade us. We are fucking going to die if you don't invade us. Those of us who actually oppose this, those of us who are in favor of the counter invasion that's going to come if you don't invade us, are just going to build up their military forces into some horrible nightmare, and then they're going to try to invade California.
All right, you convinced me. We'll invade you. Prepare for the invasion.
Okay, thank you.
I've been convinced. We're going to invade.
Let's do it.
We're going to invade. I mean, I don't know. They're asking for it.
Yeah, they want it.
Yeah, they want it. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's down here been wanting Reconstruction 2 since Reconstruction 1 ended.
Okay, well, let's do it.
I want to be the military governor of Alabama. Sure. Why not? Reconstruction Redux.
Only trans and black people will be allowed in the power structure of the reconstructed South. Sorry.
Wow, cool. Most military manpower is in the South. I don't know that that's true.
It may be true. Like when it comes to like the big inland bases and stuff, where like a lot of the like marine training stuff it is in the South. They're right.
Puking Dog 2028.
Like in the Mississippi River, the Missouri River, the Tennessee River, Ohio River, there's a bunch of different inland river channels that all go through the deep South. And so a lot of the production that does happen in the United States of these big bulk products like grain happens in the heartland.
Very true.
Yeah, but they're going to be out of water in like 10, 15 years. So
it's also true, like militarily speaking, that a lot of the force, all of the force multipliers are kept on the coast. We're talking submarines, warships. Like most of that is harbored on the.
I would imagine that if there was like a balkanization that happened in the United States, that people, whatever they might say about how hard it is to move, would probably move to wherever. So I don't know if you could count on any resource staying in one place. I think people would probably move themselves and those resources around.
That would be kind of like the enemies are at the gate situation. You need to use your rat tunnel and get away while you still can. Definitely. I would say if Reconstruction 2 doesn't happen and there does end up being some balkanization, at that point, you should get the fuck up out while you can.
What if this conversation is your rat tunnel? Like, what if
what do you mean?
What if I'm like 3 years ahead of the curve and I'm digging you a rat tunnel right now and I'm saying use it and you're not? And then it waits. It's too late. The rat tunnel has collapsed. And then you look back on it and you go, Paulstradamus again, dude. God damn it. He done it again.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time you've been right about a prediction, that's for sure. But no, I don't know. I think that the avenues of exit out of the South will remain open until balkanization is complete and strict border security is implemented by the Deep South, which it would be. There would be like harsh border checks if you wanted to get into or out of the South. So yeah, like if it starts to become like a thing, like they're moving legislatively to do it, then at that point, you just have to start singing Skibbereen and packing what you can into a suitcase into the back of your car and driving off with that bitch, because you will be better off living on the streets than you will be dead in the ruined South.
Paul calling
that
it
happens.
non-consecutive terms was crazy. Yeah, that was kind of crazy, huh?
I don't feel like it was all that crazy.
I mean,
to be
it's only
honest
the
with you.
second time in American history it's ever happened. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but like, the reason I said that at the time I wasn't making a call. The political climate supported what I was saying.
I agree.
It's like you get a weak ass piece of shit capitulator in, Trump rabble rouses for the next 4 years and comes back, and now you've basically just delayed Trumpism by 4 years.
Gave him
and
4
kicked
years
down
to
the
lick
road.
his wounds and to fucking put together a
Build
coalition
support.
of loyalists. Yeah.
Yeah.
To get
So-
a few new wounds.
I don't think that was some big crystal ball call. I just think everybody's head was so far up the ass of electoralism at that point, they didn't want to hear that. People, when it comes to these elections, they don't want to talk about the implications of the elections beyond the election time. They just go into full-blown slobber mode, and they don't get it. That's the only thing I want to make that clear. I have never looked into a crystal ball. I don't have some prescience. All I'm doing is poking my head above the pussy ether every once in a while and going like, wait a minute, what if? That's it.
Brett
That's
Keane,
it.
2028. Let Brett fix the United States situation.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we deserve
That's
it.
accelerationism for you right there.
Yeah, that's accelerationism for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one saying that this either. I'm hardly the only person that smelled the way that this is gonna run. I knew it was gonna be Biden
I mean, if Biden
way
had,
before other people did.
If Biden had, I mean, Biden could have. I mean, he was in a position where he could have done something to prevent it from happening again, but he didn't. So whatever. There's no point in talking about that.
Well, if he did that, then it would have implicated a bunch of his friends and caused a bunch of trouble, because Trump would have dropped dime on everything as soon as he was in cuffs. So can't do that.
Goat
It's
versus
total
fish.
bullshit.
Yeah, the president. He will unite us all. Goat versus fish is inherently a divisive person. He divides people into goats and fish.
It is true. It is true. Him scrutinizing that goat versus fish thing, like finding the goat and fish on the wall of stickers, was pretty fun.
Yeah. The other Biden, 2028. Is that Hunter? Can we go Hunter? I love goat versus fish. Yeah, everybody loves goat versus fish. There's nothing to hate about goat versus fish. Paul's a fish. What are you, Phoebe? Are you a goat or a fish? I guess Phoebe died. Nukes, how do we divide those up in the split? Nukes change the divorce equation? I don't know. That's a good point. Where are the nukes? Where are the nukes all housed right now?
What? Am I goat or fish? Let me check.
They're all over the place, dude.
I have it in my wallet.
They dot the landscape.
Fish. I'm fish.
I'm sitting here talking to a couple of fish. Gross. Because I'm a goat.
fish.
I'm a goat.
I'm a fish. I'm a mother fish. Fishes, dude. Fishes.
I almost
Unite.
picked goat at first.
I'm just
Okay,
glad
I
changed
Scotty's
my
ass
mind.
got off the fence. That's all I'm saying.
I'm pretty
Scotty
sure
was a fence riding bitch for a long time. but then he
I'm pretty
finally
sure
chose
Scotty's.
goat.
I'm pretty sure Scotty's a goat.
Yeah, he chose goat. He
Dude.
came off the fence and chose goat.
Good.
Dude, Paul, you know what never happened that whole meetup? I
What?
didn't get to smoke with you.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I smoked with every goddamn person in that venue, it seemed like. But you're like the
did I.
one dude on this. Yeah,
Yeah,
I smoked with you like 3 times.
I was out there in a cloud of weed smoke like most of that
I've
meetup.
seen the videos.
Yeah,
I've seen the videos, yeah.
we just, I don't know, we passed each other up.
That's all Paul does, man.
Dude, I pulled strings though. I got Phoebe in early. It's like, yeah, let her in.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for that, by the
This
way.
way.
That's dope. I
Come
didn't
this
want to
way.
do it. See, here's the thing. Can I give some background context to that? So
Doesn't
Pranav was like, he was campaigning, man. And I didn't want to do it because I was like, no, I don't want to be seen as taking advantage or anything like that. I got a fucking regular ticket. I'm going to stand in this line unless somebody gets me out of that venue, drags my ass in. But then like 3 other people asked, and I was like, no, dude. If popular demand demands it, then whatever. And then popular demand demanded it. And that is like the most special and cool I've ever felt. And you guys are responsible for that. So donate to these dope-ass neckbeards, you pieces, because they are the reason why I had such a cool night and why like 200 other people had a cool night.
Yeah, I mean, that's all. Dude, the meetups are always just a haze of weed smoke, and it's overwhelming. Like people will like at some point I was standing around with like 20 people, and I'd take a hit of a joint, pass it to the left, and from the right would come another fat joint, and I'd hit that and pass it. Dude, there were 20 joints making the rounds. Everybody brought a joint. Everybody wanted to smoke it. It's crazy. But yeah, no, you should have just. When you saw me, I don't know if you never saw me outside, but if you saw me standing, you should have just busted up in there.
You came up and greeted me, actually. You came up and greeted me at one point, and I was like talking to some other friends I'd made. You know, like I was talking to Xena. It was before she ever got drunk. I was talking to Xena and Pranav, I think a couple of other people, and then I heard the most booming, like the deepest voice I've ever heard in person say, "BB," and I'm like, "What the?" And then I realized it was you, and I was like, holy shit, man, your microphone settings make you sound a whole hell of a lot. There's a lot more treble in your microphone settings than your actual voice would suggest. Holy, you sounded like the Allstate man in my ears. But yeah, we gave each other a hug real quick, and then, you know, you rambled back onto your smoke circle, and I think you were inviting me to join you, but I got so caught up in the conversation, and then the dudes were coming around with the cameras and shit.
That's the way those things are. The way those things are. That's the way those.
It was dope though.
All right, Phoebe, thanks for joining us, but get the out of here.
Hey,
we got shit to do. Bye.
Yeah, go subscribe to Phoebe. Blah 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 blah.
Go to Phoebe's channel and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I do sometimes, and sometimes it's even worth watching.
Yeah,
Phoebe does. Oh, you heard my call. My call is the Democrats sweep the midterms, immediately create a constitutional crisis by impeaching Trump. He refuses to step down. Civil war. There you go. Factions.
Civil war.
Yep.